People often ask me, what are the benefits of having good communication skills? So we all know building communication skills takes determination and practice and a whole lot of hard work. And whether you were voted most charismatic by your high school classmates, or whether you struggle striking up a conversation even on your best day, all of us can improve if we try. The more we learn about communication, the more we're aware of our own behavior, the more we're open to coaching, the better we will get. And the effort is worth it. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 tangible benefits of improved communication and how they'll make a difference for you. I'll also share a story of how my understanding of good communication skills changed everything for me in the way I think about my work. And I'll share another story of Bruce Willis and Demi Moore using good communication to create value even through divorce. Okay, first benefit of good communication skills: increased likability, interpersonal trust, and persuasive capacity. As a lawyer whose professional training is to learn how to make logical, well-reasoned arguments on the merits of the law, I ought to believe that my persuasive capacity rests entirely on the quality of my reasoning, the deftness of my writing, and the sharpness of my rhetoric. So if you're wondering what deftness means, it's basically kind of the skill and smoothness of writing. And I have to share with you, deftness is definitely one of my favorite words. So of course we know that smart wit and sound reasoning are really just a very tiny part of what makes someone persuasive. Both experience but also research suggest that good communication skills are a key part of one's ability to be persuasive with others, not just good arguments. So why is this the case? Well, folks with strong communication skills have this ability to create an emotional bond with other people. And the emotional bonds actually increase the experience of interpersonal trust and likability. We also know that when we like someone and trust them, we're actually more likely to defer to their advice and their ideas and their suggestions. So I've been teaching in legal settings since 1998, which makes me kind of old. While I've been heartened by the increased attention that law schools give to teaching communication skills, I gotta tell you, I am often perplexed by the relative paucity of communication skills in most law school curriculums, given the benefits that good communication has when it comes to increasing your own ability to influence others in business, in negotiation, and in law. So, years ago, when I was a law student, I had the honor of working with very senior faculty in negotiation and dispute resolution at the program on negotiation at Harvard Law School. And in those years, I was a teaching assistant, and I got to watch various faculty members teach the same class. So in some instances, I would have the chance to work with the late Roger Fisher, and Roger was the founder of the program on negotiation. Roger was this highly charismatic teacher who told amazing stories. And so I might be hearing him talk about a story of his work, let's say in Israel-Palestine, or in South Africa, or in Peru. And at some point, when you're teaching the class a lot, it might be the 10th time I would hear him tell the story. And when he would begin, I'd think like, oh, here we go again. But somehow at the end, amazingly, I would be leaning in. I'd be laughing a hearty belly laugh. Or if what was called for were like tears and consternation, that's what I would be feeling. Now, what's interesting is that other times I'd be working with other faculty and I'd hear them tell the same story. And at the end, nothing. No laugh, no leaning in, no tears. And the difference was simply in the ability of Roger to tell the story in a compelling way with great communication skills. And I realized in that moment that part of being persuasive, part of landing with other people and making a connection, had to do with who tells better stories. And this changed everything for me. That part of being good in communication means telling stories well in a way that has good timing and a way that connects with people emotionally. So for me, whenever I tell a new story in my teaching, I'll ask colleagues for feedback. What landed? What didn't? What could be improved? Why and how? I do this because that's how I get better. And it's how you can as well. It's one of the many reasons why I'm really grateful for the feedback all of you give to me on this channel, because I'm trying to do this for the first time and I'm learning from you. So, telling stories to build trust, connection, and likability can really make the difference between you being successful in your negotiations and interactions or not so. Okay, second benefit of strong communication skills is that it can yield stronger, happier, and more resilient relationships. Now, in some ways, this second point is a corollary of the first, but it's worth emphasizing because the consequence of strong communication skills is that it does yield more rewarding, deeper, happier, and more resilient relationships, both in the professional realm and in the personal one. So, research by MIT's Jared Curhan and his colleagues, using an instrument called the Subjective Value Index, or SVI, has demonstrated that when parties in a negotiation or conflict experience the communication from the other side as clear, direct, and worthy of trust, that they are more likely to be able to find and create value in that negotiation and to want to work with the other side going forward. In other words, feeling better about the relationship makes people want to keep working with each other. Of course, at some level, we barely need research to know this is true. I mean, consider the relationships that feel the strongest for you. Are they ones where you feel the other side is erratic, hard to decipher, random, and unpredictable? I'm guessing probably not. The relationships that feel strongest are typically the ones where we feel that we have clear and good communication. Even when we don't see eye to eye in everything, we know that we can handle differences well because of our good communication, because we have a strong relationship. Finally, strong communication skills can help us achieve better joint and individual outcomes. In negotiation, research has shown that the more parties feel comfortable sharing truthful information about their own deepest interests, needs, and preferences, the easier it is to identify outcomes that create maximum amount of volume. Indeed, Howard Reifa, one of the founders of the fields of negotiation, identified that negotiators are best able to create the most value under conditions known as FOTE, full, open, truthful exchange. When communication is clear, as identified earlier, trust is higher. And when trust is higher, relationships are stronger. And when you have conditions of high trust and strong relationships and good communication, you're more likely to share your real preferences with the other side because you are not worried that they are going to use that information against you. Let's take a really simple example. Imagine a situation where I have 5 apples and you have 5 oranges. And in this example, let's imagine that I value apples and oranges at 5 points each, but you don't value oranges at all, but you value apples at 5 points each. So if communication between us has been untrusting and bad, it's highly risky for you to tell me that you don't have much use for the oranges, but that you really like my apples. Why? Well, upon hearing that, I might say, gosh, in that case, dear friend, I'd be delighted to give you one of my apples for all of your oranges. If you protest, I might say, okay, but wouldn't you be better off with a single apple than with 5 useless oranges? And so because of this risk of exploitation, you will probably just sit there and say nothing. The total value between us will be 25 points. But now imagine instead that we have a good and trusting relationship marked by clear communication. In this case, it's much easier and safer for you to tell me your true preference, because you could rely on me to say something like, well, gosh, in that case, how about I give you my 5 apples in exchange for your 5 oranges? After all, I will still have 25 points worth of value, but then you will have 25 points of value, and 50 points of value is really better for all of us. So it's just that kind of strong and trusting relationship. So as a consequence of our good communication skills, and therefore our trusting relationship, we are able to create value that otherwise would have gone unrealized. Let's consider the real-life example of Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. Some of you may remember recently Willis announced that because of a rare disease called aphasia, he would need to retire as an actor. So unlike many Hollywood divorces that are marked by rancor and accusation, Demi Moore immediately supported her former husband, and the children of that marriage all announced the deep appreciation and support they had as a family and for their dad and for their mom. And what we learned in the midst of this is that even as Demi and Bruce had gotten divorced, they always committed to keeping clear communication and prioritizing the shared interests of their children with each other. Even though marriage wasn't for them, they succeeded in creating both joint and individual value. The upshot: clear and trusting communication skills allow you to harvest the greatest outcome for yourself and for others, even when differences abound. So, strong communications have lots of upsides. They're the basis for building interpersonal trust, likability, and persuasive capacity. They help in the formation of strong and resilient relationships, and they can yield mutual gains for yourself and others. So, if you want to continue to improve your communication skills, watch the next video, which is What are the qualities of a good negotiator? I'm Bob Bordone. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell. Stay with me, keep binging now. You know you're going to do it anyway.